I do have some blue cards. First is David Socata. David here tonight?
He's coming.
Again, if you could keep it to 3 minutes, David, appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is David Socata. I live on the southern part of Leisure Village, and I suspect that I might be across the wash from that 18 acres that's currently hemp planted within the city limits. The bottom line, which I've heard a lot of discussion about tonight, and it's been very educational for me, but for my wife and I, it's a lot more elementary, and that's just to be able to breathe. At my particular residence at 20182, Village 20, it's gotten so bad that I have to leave my windows and my door closed because it's really overwhelming. And if I could leave, I'm not trying to be facetious here, I'm being very serious. If I could leave you with this analogy, imagine a skunk comes through your neighborhood and leaves a little odoriferous tidbit that they've been there, but the odor passes after a couple hours. Our odor doesn't pass. It's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's really very obnoxious to us. So we have a very elementary interest in this. We'd like to breathe clean, nice smelling air, and that's the only reason I'm here tonight. But thank you for the information. I have learned 100% more than I knew 2 hours ago. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Alfredo, I believe it's Melendez. Is Alfredo here?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
David put up the slide 18.
Turn your microphone up. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
David put up slide 18. I know that a lot of people probably have comments and just where they live in relation to some of those grows too, I think might be helpful.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, honorable members of the Camarillo City Council. My comment is the same as far as the odor. On the location where I reside here in Camarillo, the odor has gotten really, really bad, and I feel I share the same sentiment with the previous resident. The odor doesn't go away. It goes inside our home, and it's really obnoxious. Actually, I can also smell it in my office, in my car, so it's hard to get away from it. My questions are in relation to, say, value of the properties. If one was to, say, put a property for sale or for rent, one has to disclose that issue with the potential buyer or renter, and that can affect the value of a property or a rental value. Additionally, if on the days that we have nice weather, my wife and I have a newborn. We choose to have our windows open to have that nice breeze air come through our home. We won't be able to do that now, so we will be forced to use an air conditioning unit, which will bring our electric bill higher because we will be forced to have our windows and doors closed. So my question on that would be, what can the city perhaps address with the county to try to avoid those potential effects that the odor can trigger in our community? And lastly, I took a picture of one of the slides that were shared, and I find it interesting that says environmental concerns, benefits. It says unknown. So it's interesting that all these plantations are happening when we really don't know what the consequences can be in the future, most specifically with kids that are outdoors in the schools, in the parks. My wife and I have a newborn, and frankly, to be honest, we don't like to go out for walks anymore because the odor is just toxic at times. For example, earlier today, it was completely horrible. My wife was out walking with the baby, and as soon as the odor started coming out, she just ran back to the house because it just was real bad. So I appreciate your time, and I'm hopeful that the city will work with the county to perhaps find some restrictions in how those farms can continue if anything.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I believe, Royparcei, I believe. Please know, we'd really prefer you not to clap because we want to be fair to all sides on this, and I have everybody feel very comfortable in coming up and stating, how they feel about particular issues here. Is it Roya? Did I pronounce that
Yes.
right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I live in Villager Village in Camarillo, and there are 55 plus people living there, and most of them are oxygen or they have a lot of severe allergies. And since this happened, people are very much sick, and I myself think I have heart palpitation because I have allergy to. I know I have allergy to marijuana, so it's a derivative of marijuana. So whatever it is, it smells like skunk. People were thinking maybe in their attic something died, and I have to close the windows. I'm a prisoner of my place, and I may be a little high right now. And if they have fire, we die of being high by the fire that goes on this fields. But why 18 acres? Why not 8 acres? Why not cover them with something? Why don't we just think of profit instead of people's health, people's concerns? Our life is property prices go down because who wants to live in a city that smells like skunk? And we lose buyers, we lose renters, plus it doesn't solve it if the smell can travel so much that people find it anywhere. So I don't want to spend more money and put filter or always air condition on or always my windows closed. So I think for this city of Camarillo, I talk is just, of course, you can smell it when you're driving. Oh my God, near Rosewood. I just have 2 people on my telephone that say, when we get to our houses, it smells so much. Our clothes, our hair smells like that. So I have a minute. So I want to, although I learned a lot tonight, but I see nothing except profit, profit, profit. Nobody cares about people, the way they live. Somebody's making profit and too much of it. I mean, 18 acres, make it 8. If it's like everywhere, you just found land and say, let's do this, that's not health, that's not good decision for people. And all the concerns that people in our village has, I'm telling you, because in the pool, about 20 of them told me to say their opinion. And one of them lives in Simi Valley, and the rest are in Camarillo. Thank you for your attention, and I hope they do something about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, I've got I believe it's John, I believe it's Chamber. Am I right on that? I'm not sure if I pronounced that last name right, John.
Chambers.
Chamber, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chambers, thank you.
I did have a question. You talk about outside growing and also growing inside greenhouses. Are there places that must require hemp being grown inside a greenhouse? Do they exist? Does anybody know that?
They'll answer your questions at the end.
Okay. All right, so that's my question.
Yeah.
Are there places that require hemp be grown inside? Because right now, everything's outside. And as you drive through, you can always notice there are different stages of growth, too. As you talk about only in the fall time would there be an odor, but I have a feeling that this is going to be all year round because there are different stages of growth going around. My house is the same as everybody else's. You walk through the house, you open the door, walk into a room, and it just smells. So you got to close the windows, and we're going to have to live like that from now on, I have a feeling. And it's going to affect, I think, our property value. So I just want to make my point that the odor, it was a gradual growth here, too. It was a very slow process. And so you walk outside every day, and all of a sudden you're like, what is going on? So it's a smell issue, yes. And I think it's going to be a long issue. I don't think it's going to be just a part of a year, like October or or something. I think we're going to deal with this all year round. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll get that back to you. Alfredo, I believe it's Jomsky. Am I right on that? Okay, Alfredo.
Jomsky, Jomsky.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in the United States 60 years, 55 as U.S. citizen. I speak like I just got off the boat. I did. And don't fool yourself. I live with 40 different nationalities when I worked for Bank of America 35 years. The reason I'm here is not to complain. I'm here to learn. I was a project manager for Bank of America, and I want to learn what those people are doing to our city. Now, it says in there, las personas son la ciudad. It's up to you to support that, saying, I know Mr. Camarillo will be very offended if you guys don't do your job. My suggestion, we need to know the location where the planting is taking place and the size of the parcels that are permitted, current and potential. If they made any study on the health, the impact of the health of the population, my wife and me are cancer survivors. I had a fight with my wife for 2 months because she said there is an animal in the house creating this odor. Well, guess what? It's hemp. And there are ways, as a project manager, I'll donate my time in which we can avoid the fall odor that we are now suffering. There are people in here from my neighborhood. I want my project, my premises manager to contact the city council. I want you guys, please, to take care of that situation. That situation doesn't go away. We need to know how many months in the year. You're gonna get 1,700,000. Do you know? Do you realize how many millions every one of us is going to lose? The property is going to go like that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank you. Next, Russell Greene.
Good evening. My name is Russell Greene, and we share the same concerns. My wife and I are here. We share the same concerns of this hemp. Industrial hemp is such a nuisance, and it looks to us like it's going to become a greater and greater problem for this community. Now, the City Council, it seems to me, has a responsibility to protect the residents of the city. And it's pretty clear that the quality of life in this city is going to be dramatically affected if we can't do something about the nuisance that this odor is creating throughout our community. And it's not clear to me what you can do about hemp growing outside the city limits. But you've got to do something to represent the people of this city who are residents inside the city that are affected dramatically by it. This is going to get significantly worse. And our property values indeed will be affected by it. I'm a new resident of Springville. I've been a resident of Camarillo for the last 4 years. And the Springville community, we like to walk at night. We can't go out at night without having a very unpleasant experience. We can't open the windows and enjoy the fresh air in our home anymore because it's such a nuisance. And I can only imagine the next time we come here a year from now and we'll see hemp farms all around the airport and beyond. This is going to become a very serious problem for this community. And I encourage the council to address the significance of this nuisance and the potential for it to become a very unpleasant situation for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is, I believe, Kathy Sheehan. Am I right on that? Okay. All right. Sam Heredia. Thank you, Sam.
Good evening. My name is Sam Heredia. I live in Los Posas Estates. I live on Encino Avenue, so my property faces the ocean. Been up there 20 years. And I want to express my frustration, just like the rest of the people here, about the smell. It's been smelling like it's been horrible over the last few weeks. We have to close our windows. I haven't gone to the extent of trying to evaluate the property impact. So it's a personal issue for me as well as a business. I own a restaurant on Ventura, Old Town Camarillo. That was before you a couple weeks ago regarding a trellis that we want to build. We're not interested in doing that anymore. There's people that don't want to stay in the restaurant. They don't want to go and hang out in the patio. We had a wonderful event yesterday for a young woman that's suffering from cancer. And there was about a 45 to an hour wait to get into the restaurant. And nobody wanted to stay and hang out in the patio for that reason, because of the smell. So in the themes that I have with cases that I handle in front of juries, it has to do with profits over safety. And I will encourage you to consider that as you move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Julie. I think it's Wang. I'm not sure. Is she here? Julie? Okay. David Sawyer? David here. Okay. And David?
Hi there, I'm David Sawyer. Share the same concern everybody else has here. It's the odor. It's the smell. Nobody wants to live in a town, work in a town where it smells. It's simple. So I prepared a little comment here, and I'll refer to hemp, but it's the same thing, hemp, cannabis. It's the smell, whatever smells. The odor produced by the hemp grow will destroy Camarillo. You really need to consider this. And don't take this lightly. I'm born and raised in Camarillo since 1969. I've never experienced a crop that produces the foul odor that hemp does. I'm extremely concerned that if hemp is allowed to be grown in the surrounding area, the foul odor will hurt businesses, it'll reduce real estate values, it's going to impact our schools, it's going to affect individuals' allergies, and generally just adversely affect the quality of life in Camarillo. Think about all the parks. Think about, like the gentleman previously, eating outdoors. Nobody wants to do those things where it smells. And let me be clear, I'm not here to advocate against marijuana, against cannabis, whatever it is. I'm here about an issue of foul odor. And this issue is allowing a business that adversely affects the quality of life in Camarillo. It is the smell that will drive business away, hurt business, affect the real estate values. Let's face it, people don't want to buy homes and work in areas where it smells. Okay, this is similar to cattle ranch, a chicken ranch. They produce foul odors. Hemp does the same exact thing. I guarantee you, people wanted to put a chicken ranch out there where you got the hemp, it wouldn't be allowed. Cattle ranch wouldn't be allowed. So anyways, with that said, I really hope the city takes this under concern. And I'm going to add one thing. I drive out Las Posas Road. There's a ton of acreage that's not shown just off the map. A ton of it. Probably as much as everything that's highlighted. So please, I recommend implementing a moratorium in the city until this can be further evaluated, because if it continues, like one of the other gentlemen said, it's going to get worse. The grow season is not just a short period out of the year. It's going to be year-round. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is, I believe, Pam Bramsford. Is Pam here?
just have a few questions. You said that it's a year-round. Is it a year-round crop? And the smell, when is it more evident? Is there certain times of the year that it's more pungent? I am a home health nurse, and I've been out in the Ventura County, and I've been going from the Pleasant Valley Road all the way to Oxnard, Fillmore. I've been all around this county, and the smell is just horrendous. And you said that you can't plant 500 feet away from schools, but I'm concerned about the Camarillo Airport. How many feet is that? I mean, there's a continuation school right there, so I'm wondering about that. Also about, you said that it should be 0.3% of the THC. How do we know how that's going to be regulated? And how do we really know? I mean, is it going to be tested monthly? How do we really know what that percentage is going to be? And what are our, what will we as the public, how are we going to know if that's the correct measurement of that THC? Also, I just have one other thing. This is impacting the Camarillo outlets, which is financially really beneficial for the city. And now customers are going to the outlets and they're smelling it, and they don't want to go in the stores. My daughter's the manager of one of the stores. She has to close the doors because the smell is going into the clothes. And so this is impacting RC also. I feel sorry for the people that's impacting their breathing. That hasn't affected me yet, but my neighbors, I thought they were just smoking it, but it turns out, no, it was just the breeze coming from the crops that was bringing the smell into my home and my backyard. Anyway, so I have a number of questions, and I hope you can answer those. Just one other point. Like I said, I do drive through the county. I've been a home health nurse for the last few years, and I did notice that there's been people getting off the side of the roads and pulling out the plants.
Okay, next, Robert, I believe it's Blair. Robert? All right.
Hello, how's everybody tonight?
Good.
Good. I believe I've voted for every one of you at one time or another. Thank you for representing our city. I'm very depressed tonight because of this issue. This horrible odor that's changed our whole quality of life in just a matter of a few weeks. I take my drive up to work, and we smelled it a little bit on the grade for a couple weeks. I said, I didn't think anything of it. This past week has been abominable. I know I'm not going to say anything anybody hasn't already said, but I still feel like I want to be heard. I now have to close my 14-year-old son's window at night. It smells of marijuana. It's not marijuana, it's hemp, whatever. It's the same stink. When I went for a walk with my dog 2 nights ago at Wood Creek Park, or Woodside Greens Park, I came back after 15 minutes. My adenoids were swollen. You know, it's affecting me. I feel it's coated my throat on that night. It's very depressing, and you know, this is not a threat. I don't mean anybody harm, but we will have to move next year. I'm going to find a way to fix our house. And I pray to God that there's enough people that like this smell and really support this stuff that will buy my house at a reasonable price, and I won't lose money. And I love Camarillo. We've been here 15 years, 14 years. My kids have grown up here. I'm concerned about them playing at Pleasant Valley Fields. We built that whole soccer field. I smell it, you know. I don't want them to be practicing out there and playing games out there, you know, with this smell and this who knows what. And I do support hemp, but I think it should be, you know, for other reasons, for possibly positive reasons that maybe some people here will share later. It is supposedly medicinally helpful to many people. Who knows, maybe I will use it someday when I'm older. However, I think this stuff should be grown far, far away from houses. And I have 59 seconds. Far away, 500 feet from a school. They should be 10 miles away from a school. I just, it's unfathomable to me. And I support farmers. I'm not against farmers. Garlic, onions, cilantro, these are nice smells. Even garlic, when I lived in Gilroy for a short time, this is nothing like what we're going through right now. And I'm an emotional person. Yes, I am. And I'm very emotional now. I'm distraught because I think, well, we're not going to be able to do anything about this. I don't want to leave here. I have my kids here. We have family and friends here, but we're going to be forced to leave. I cannot handle this smell, and my wife can't either. And I'm sorry to say that. I hope something can be done, maybe greenhouses and air scrubbing machines, I don't know what. I'll be joining people who go to talk to the agricultural, county ag or whatever, if I can, down the road. Anyway, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. I believe it's Vishy Patel. So.
Hi, I'm Vishnu Patel. I'm a pharmacist. I grew up and I did my pharmacy in India. When I was little, my parents used to grow tobacco in the farm. When there is a plant in the farm, there is no bugs, not even a snake can come close to tobacco. We have tobacco smoking. For anyone who smoked around the people, they said, I don't like because of smell. Probably 100 or 150 years later, we find out there is a disease called secondhand smoking. And all this audience, people complain about chemical. They're just human beings. They only know what's a smell. As a pharmacist, I know what smell is actually chemical flying in the air, going into your brain and into your brain cell in your lungs. That's the chemical reaction, what the smell stands for. Now, there are some smells are good, healthy, flower, something make you please. There are some plants are very poisonous, as bad as, maybe we will find out 100 years or 200 years from now, it's as bad as smoking marijuana or having hemp in your body itself. It's all human being. It's very simple. We can feel it's a smell, but it's not a smell. It's a chemical going into your body. And that's simple as I had done my pharmacy school. I spent research for chemical on the human body for 5 years. And that's what the human body, any chemical reaction, if it's bad for you, you throw up. If it's something bad for your brain cell, you feel vomiting. If it's some smell you don't like, you feel like it's smell, I don't like it. It's not your body trying to respond to you that smell is not good for your health. And it's inside your brain cell is reacting. It is clear message that chemical in the air, in the pollution, and going into human body. So make sure whoever making decision, this is not just a smell, it's a poison going into your body, maybe very less significant as person who smoke, but it is same. Thank you for listening.